Fatal 4-Way was a professional wrestling pay-per-view event produced by World Wrestling Entertainment, which took place on June 20, 2010, at the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum in Uniondale, New York. The show was based on certain matches on the card that are contested as Fatal 4-Way matches. The event received 143,000 pay-per-view buys, down on the Bash's figure of 178,000 buys. This was the final WWE pay-per-view event to be held in Nassau Coliseum after the Coliseum will have a renovation. Also, this was the first and only Fatal 4-Way event produced by WWE. Background: Fatal 4-Way featured professional wrestling matches involving different wrestlers from pre-existing scripted feuds, plots, and storylines that played out on World Wrestling Entertainment's television programs. Wrestlers portrayed a villain or a hero as they followed a series of events that built tension, and culminated into a wrestling match or series of matches. The main feud on Raw was a Fatal 4-Way match for the WWE Championship between defending champion John Cena, Randy Orton, Edge and Sheamus. After Cena retained his title against Batista in an I Quit match at Over the Limit, Sheamus attacked Cena. On the May 31, 2010 edition of Raw, Bret Hart was announced as the new Raw general manager. Before Batista could cut a promo, Hart interrupted and said that if Batista wanted his rematch, then he would have to qualify. Batista refused to wrestle, citing an injury, and Hart then let Orton qualify by forfeit. Edge and Sheamus won their respective qualifying matches to gain entry into the match alongside Orton. John Cena was next to cash in on the action, defeating Jordan for the belt. The following 2 weeks saw the four wrestlers compete against each other in singles and tag team bouts. The main event for the SmackDown brand was a Fatal 4-Way match for the World Heavyweight Championship between Jack Swagger, Big Show, CM Punk and Rey Mysterio. At Over the Limit, Big Show defeated Swagger by disqualification but did not win the championship since it cannot change hands on a disqualification, and as a result qualified for the Fatal 4-Way match. The Undertaker and CM Punk won their respective qualifying matches against Rey Mysterio and Kane. Later Kane found his half-brother Undertaker in a storyline vegetative state, unable to compete, and The Undertaker was removed from the match. A battle royal was put in place to determine The Undertaker's replacement in the match, which was won by Rey Mysterio, who last eliminated Kane. On the April 12, 2010 edition of Raw, Eve Torres beat Miraz for the Divas Championship. When Miraz attempted to seek revenge at Over the Limit, she was defeated by Eve. On the May 17, 2010 edition of Raw, Gail Kim teamed up with Evan Bourne to defeat Alicia Fox and Zack Ryder. After this, Kim and Fox started to feud for several weeks. On the June 14, 2010 edition of Raw, the current Divas champion, Eve, teamed up with Kim in a winning effort against Miraz and Fox, and a Fatal 4-Way match was announced between the four. Event Dark match Before the event began, Zack Ryder pinned Montel Vontavious Porter in a dark match. Preliminary matches The event began with Kofi Kingston defending the Intercontinental Championship against Drew McIntyre. SmackDown General Manager Theodore Long was also in attendance near the announce table. The contest was even between both competitors. Kingston hit his SOS signature maneuver, but McIntyre kicked out. Kingston then went for a unique submission maneuver near the turnbuckle, but it was reversed by McIntyre, who threw Kingston's legs into the referee, knocking him out. Since the referee was unable to officiate the match, McIntyre forced Long to fill in for the referee. When McIntyre went for the pin, however, Long refused to count to 3. As they argued, Matt Hardy interfered and attacked McIntyre, which gave Kingston time to recover and hit his finishing move, the Trouble in Paradise, on McIntyre. Kingston then pinned McIntyre for the win and retained the title. The WWE Divas Championship was defended next by Eve against Alicia Fox, Miraz, and Gail Kim in a Fatal 4-Way match. Near the end of the match, Eve performed a moonsault on Miraz, but her pin attempt was broken up by Fox, who threw Eve out of the ring. She then covered Miraz and won her first title in the WWE. Chris Jericho came out next and taunted the crowd by saying that it was because of him that they were all at the event that night. He then referred to his disqualification loss against Evan Bourne the previous week on Raw, calling him a has-been who tried to make a name for himself off of Jericho. The match began after Jericho called Bourne out to the ring. The match included a lot of high-flying offense from Bourne and many near falls. Jericho got the advantage when he hit Bourne with his finisher, the Codebreaker, but Bourne kicked out. The match ended when Bourne hit Airborne on Jericho's back and pinned him for the win. Main event matches. The first main event of the night featured the World Heavyweight Championship being defended by the champion Jack Swagger in a fatal four-way match against Rey Mysterio, Big Show, and CM Punk. Big Show dominated the first half of the match, quickly knocking down all of his opponents. The advantage turned when the other three competitors concentrated their offense mainly on him, taking him out for some time. The match was then contested evenly until Punk hit his finisher on Swagger, but before he could pin him, they were interrupted by Kane. Kane attempted to put Punk in a casket, but Punk was able to escape with Kane in pursuit. Mysterio took advantage of the situation and hit Swagger with his finishing move, the 619, and covered him to win his first World Heavyweight Championship since 2006. The Miz defended his WWE United States Championship against the former champion R-Truth. Miz made his entrance using his opponent's entrance music, barring a few tweaks he made in his favor. The match went at a quick pace throughout and came to an end when Miz reversed R-Truth for a pin attempt, which was completed and he retained his title. The Unified Tag Team Champions, the Hart Dynasty, competed against the Usos and Tamina Snuka next in a six-person tag team match. The match was won by the Hart Dynasty. The seventh and final match of the evening was for the WWE Championship, defended by John Cena against Sheamus, Randy Orton, and Edge in a fatal four-way match. The crowd gave every superstar a positive reaction regardless of their status of a hero or villain. None of the competitors stayed in the ring for long, as when one would get an advantage over another opponent they would be interrupted by another one of the challengers. The match came to an abrupt end when it was interrupted by the Rookies from the first season of NXT, who had previously formed a faction against the roster of the Raw brand. The Rookies first attacked Cena in the ring. Edge then tried to help him but was then attacked next instead. In the midst of the commotion, Sheamus pinned Cena to win the championship, bringing the event to a premature conclusion. Reception. Approximately 10,000 people attended Fatal 4-Way Live at the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum in Uniondale, New York. The event received generally mixed reviews. Bob Capper from Canadian Online Explorer's Wrestling section awarded the WWE Championship match an 8 out of 10 and the World Heavyweight Championship match a 7 out of 10. He also appreciated Chris Jericho and Evan Bourne for their performances in their match and rated the match as 8 out of 10. Overall, he awarded the event a score of 8 out of 10. In a mixed review, Rob McNichol from The Sun awarded the event 6 out of 10. He stated that the finish of the WWE Championship match was simply a cheap title switch, and the NXT Rookie Invasion was just a rehash of the original. The shortened length of the event was harshly criticized by the reviewer, who stated the event concluding 25 minutes earlier than scheduled was short-changing a paying audience. Results. References. External links. Official WWE Fatal 4-Way website.